I know the session that you've done or you've shared for us is one that you've done in the last few days. But just a bit of a background on the conversation that you and I had on it is that what appeals to me is the adaptability of the session. I won't take all your information away, but the adaptability of the session, the fact that it can be done varying numbers, but then I'll leave the bits down to you as to how you came up with the plan and the rationale behind. One of the things I think is really important is that people get an idea of where and why it fits into your week. And then, of course, why you like the session and what you see the benefits from it with.
So, yeah, the reason I chose this session was, so we do a match review 2 days after a game. So things that we need to improve on or things that went well within a game and what it looks like. So what I done was I put the boys into units. So I went defenders, midfielders and attackers and broke down, analysed the game and then broke down what in those units we can do better at and improve on or like maintain. So again, numbers can be adaptable. So I took the defenders when we went back for work. We try and build from the back, so we try to play out quite a bit, but there's in this one game that we had a bit of a problem getting to the middle third of the pitch and it just turned over. So end up structuring it so the back four would be trying to play out from the back and then trying to find a midfielder. So because of, again, we split the group up, the midfielders then were doing switch of play work through the middle of the pitch and then the attackers done and finished the attack. Different types of crosses, runs and stuff like that. And why I done it like that is that we're in our units, we're all working on the moments of the game, but then we then put it all together. So the defenders were doing build from the back and defending the box, ultimately, because that's where we've come unstuck a little bit recently in terms of different crosses we've conceded from and stuff. So got the defenders doing loads of work on their positioning, depending on where the ball is, who engages, body shape, all things like that, different types of passes they have once the ball is in our control. So the midfielders and attackers then came together and then attacked the goal. And then the defenders were trying to build from the back, play into their 7-11, which they don't have, which is mini goals. So just linked it all together and then went against each other as well. So the stuff we worked on in units was now, build the attack, but finish the attack. So just going against two different themes that we needed to improve on, really.
So it relates itself to what you mentioned at the beginning when you said about playing out from the back and the press, for example, when you were working at West Ham. So by the end of the session, the dynamic is one team against the other or one group against another, attacker against defender, whatever it might be. Yeah. So I think one of the real things that I picked out of it is, of course, a lot of that is related to your team, related to the good and the bad and the ugly, if you like, from a particular performance, or I think in your case from themes over a period of time rather than just what happened on Saturday. Fair to say.
Yeah.
Which again is a good thing to relate to in terms of the time scales that go in, even though you're working with your players most days, the time scales that relate to the particular session. So it might not necessarily have been Saturday, it might have been something from 2 or 3 weeks ago, but it might be a common theme for the good or the bad. But one of the things within it that really stands out for me is the ability to really make it specific to a position, a unit, or a player. Yeah. So maybe if you could just touch on a little bit about that, even if you just picked, for example, you said about the defenders, that was your unit. If you could talk about maybe some of the technical elements or a particular player that you might be able to focus on and the sort of things you might be looking for.
Yeah, well, the left back ended up, so we were trying to play out from the back and the ball lands to the left back, and he remember him saying that he needed more passing options. So in the game, we ended up trying to get one of our eights to drop down So I just recreated that pass room within this session. So, and in this game as well, we was up against 2 strikers and they had wing backs. So I put mannequins there. So they've got not live players running at them, but they've just got the reference of what they're up against. They've got starting positions. So when we're trying to build, then we split and try and play out. Then the left back lands on the ball and he rolls inside and plays it into the 8. It's the same on the other side. And as we were doing that, so I'm trying to get them to build, but when we turn it over, we've been a bit stretched and then we're not in the right positions to defend crosses. So I linked it. So as I was setting it up, I ended up putting 2 different color cones on the side of the pitch. One was near the corner flag, so that was the pink one, and the other one was near the edge of the box, the yellow one. So when they played the pass, I would shout right pink, and then they knew they were defending across from that side. So the left back would then go and engage, and then it was all about the position of the other 3. Because what I was finding as well, and it's happened in other games, I'd have one centre half outside the pitch trying to help the left back who can't even tackle the player, the winger, and who's not even being beaten. So then the other centre, it affects the other centre half and his positioning. Then the opposite fullback is thinking, well, I've got a winger that side, so that's my man. I'm going to stay this side of the post, and end up having no one between the posts. And it happened quite a few times in different games. So I'm just trying to get their habits really in from that. So yes, we're trying to build, but ultimately when the ball turns over, we need to defend the box. And what does that look like? And what if the ball's there? So I end up dressing up like that. And then being in control of that as well. So then I would get them to squeeze to some spots, which is sorted out in the back 4. So that was their starting positions. And then if it weren't a midfielder with the mini goals, I moved them out wide because obviously we didn't have wingers because it was the unit work. And it was another message to the players where and this is a thing that players find hard. They find it hard to do really easy things. So a 2-yard pass is not important to them, but for me, it's everything. And it even panned out as we went into the phase, and I put in the 7-11 as a goals, and they could pass it in, they turn it down because they think I'm going to score in the big goal. So then perfect for me because I go, hold it there. Who's that in reference to you and your team? And they're like, it's my winger. Give him the ball then. But because it's easy and it don't look good, they don't put a lot of weight to it. But they're the hardest things. So it's just little things like that. So we end up doing loads of that today. I had a try list as well. So I end up coaching someone. I'm trying to coach the others. I'm coaching someone I don't know much about. So now and he needed help with body shape. So I end up doing loads of individual stuff with all of them. So even though it might be trying to help the left back, I end up covering everyone because the goalie needed help on his angle of how to support when we're in control. And then, so I was trying to get good habits into what we do with the ball and without the ball. So because otherwise, if you just do defending, they'll get bored. So they want to have the ball. They want to feel like they're contributing to attacking. And the reason I do that as well, because I used to do that. I used to think, I'm the one who's going to start the attack. And how does that look? So I just try and give that back to them as well. So I try and link it to the game. So then it's not unrealistic, it's real. And they've been through it. And because they've been through it, they can go, yeah, well, when this happened, well, I needed that. And then they can come together and try and find a solution along with me. And I just try and guide that.
Like brilliant. So if you're looking at it, breaking it down in terms of opportunities within your session that people have got to coach individuals and their most basic techniques of a 5-yard pass, I think you referred to it to, passing it into the mini goal, which is, I think we can also safely say is something that whatever level of player we're working with is an attribute that we all need to continuously revisit. But you're hooking the group in terms of giving them an attacking principle, giving them the ball, giving them a picture of something that you've already addressed in terms of what they need to improve and develop, and then there's a reaction to go and defend as well within one particular session. So there's a real opportunity to work on units of players, attacking, defending, and then also individual attributes, whether it be the 5-yard pass or body shape to defend, or as you referred to there in terms of what you're trying to give to the trialist, the new player within that.